This is the end of the fucking world, and this isn't your average love story. This show changes how stories are told across television. The End of the Fucking World is a show about a psychotic teenager, James, and a rebellious girl named Alyssa. James is narrating the story from the end. He tells the story in a past tense, like when Alyssa says,
"Are you scared?" "I'm not."
And James says,
"She probably should have been."
But Alyssa narrates the story in present tense. There are two narrators, both Alyssa and James. Alyssa tells us their story as it goes, and James tells us their story in his head, like it is the flash in his head before he dies. The opening shot is probably my favorite part. James with gray and blue clothing, holding a skateboard in one hand, and his burnt hand, walking with the song Laughing on the Outside playing. Everything about James looks dead. His face, his speech, his walk. The first shot is the walking corpse you can't feel with the soft melody playing.
Laughing on the outside, crying on the inside.
Ironic in the sense he shows no emotion, so that might as well be him laughing on the outside. The show is adapted from the novel, written by Charles Forsman. It is an American novel where James and Alyssa travel to Texas to meet her father, and in the show where they travel to south of England to meet her father. The novel goes over several months of them traveling, with the show only covering a few days. You can see all the American references from the diner to, most importantly, the music, which helps give the dark and moody scenes a lighter accent, with artists from America and even British artists who have American blue roots. The show will feature 60s-era songs, even though the two main characters are young and using songs before their generation. Yet, like when Alyssa starts dancing to Hank Williams, she dances almost not with the song like her traditional dance would be with the song. She dances how she wants because she's not like everyone else. Alyssa and James dancing to Hank Williams is one of my favorite scenes. It is the first scene where the two actually seem to mutually like each other. James has smiled before in the show, but not out of happiness, rather just laughing at the person Alyssa is and how she isn't afraid to say what she thinks. James smiles for the first time dancing. He states he has a rule he doesn't dance, which I assume is more of a rule to not show vulnerability or emotions. But the second James dances, it seems like he actually enjoys life sometimes. He starts to crack his shell when he kisses Alyssa back for the first time. Other songs like At 17, giving the scene with Alyssa finally running away a little humor to it.
You see yourself, and you think, fuck this shit.
And those of us with ravaged faces lacking.
Or Zuzu playing, while they clean up, giving such a dark and mind-scarring event a rather light-hearted and funny twist.
She said it would help to have some music on whilst we cleaned. It kind of did.
The music is as well accompanied by the color. In the end of the pilot, James and Alyssa are sitting on James's roof with cloudy skies and James wearing gray and blue, while Alyssa wearing a bright red cardigan, implying that even though we are given this psychotic vision and portrayal of James, she's the answer to this cure, this blue life and gray skies he lives under each day. Much like in Spike Jonze's Her, the movie will use grays and dark blues in the skies and environment to convey depressing or emptiness, and bright yellows and oranges to convey happiness or love tone. In the beginning, while James and Alyssa are still strangers towards each other and only have each other, there are tons of clouds, dark atmospheres, and gray and blue color scheme. Towards the end of the show, there is more sun, much more lighthearted and friendly atmospheres, yellows and oranges. Look at these shots as the two return to the diner where the two had separated. The sky of the clouds are beginning to break and sunshine through to fully unite these two. What makes The End of the Fucking World such an amazing love story is it actually isn't a cheap love story that doesn't ever happen. It doesn't have the same rehashed movie poster of two people about to kiss with the sun shining between their lips. The poster is the two walking, hating everything about their lives, standing and looking away from each other. You wouldn't even think that the two like, let alone love each other. You get this feeling in the beginning as well, that they don't really love each other, but just using each other as an excuse to run away from their lives they hate. Even though that the events occur through the 8 episodes themselves are crazy and probably won't happen to a newfound couple. But if they did, you could actually relate the characters and see it happening. You can see how the characters actually grow on each other, unlike the generic Hollywood love story, where outrageous things happen with unreal reactions a human being would never do, where the narrative is always the man has to give up everything for the new woman he just met. And the show is fully aware of this bullshit in these movies when Alyssa says,
It's not a film. If this was a film, we'd probably be American.
The show is more of a mockery of love stories, but still has the two dumb teenagers willing to kill themselves to save each other. An amazing adaptation in the show is the silence scene. The graphic novel uses dialogue and thoughts throughout the book until the two split. James undergoes a silence he's never gone through. He learns how deafening silence really can be. In the novel, you see James walk mindlessly because he has no idea where to go. James gets beat up so he can feel something again, now that Alyssa's gone, the only thing that did make him feel. In the show, you see James suffer from the silence like it is now a stranger to him, unlike in the novel where it is just like a welcome friend he hadn't seen in a while. James shakes from the shock and anxiety he is facing. He realizes why it is his dad chooses to laugh and joke, because if he doesn't, he is faced with the reality of his issues, and that not everything is okay. 21 Pilots does a song about this very issue, Car Radio. Something that people don't realize but happens to them all the time. They'll use music, books, or movies to drown out silence because they don't realize how deafening it can be, and they avoid serious thoughts. The color grading, theme, soundtrack, story, as well as story presenting tools all create this show to not only elevate love stories, but just stories in general. There probably won't be a season 2, but if there is, I expect it not to copy the first season and bring new ideas no one saw coming or thought of.